Let's find out.
And we are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicinda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP. We're a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope and desire is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games, and to help great players find great, amazing designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways. We design our own games. We cover other people's games. This is a little bit of a fusion of both. My good buddy Marcus created a game a little while ago that we play tested for the first time ever here on stream, and I fell in love with it, and we have been developing it over the course of the last couple months to go up to a print run. It's available digitally right now on itch, and the core rules are available on Drive-Thru RPG also too. But Marcus, tell us a little bit about Down We Go.
Down We Go is my take on the OSR, my attempt at getting to the core of the OSR as far as I know the OSR scene and the OSR experience. So yeah, this is a distillation of my OSR experience.
Awesome. One of the best things about it is all the rules fit on like a half page. Hey, Charles Ferguson Avery jumping in. We've got a few people in the chat. We've been playing for. This is our 5th week of play over the course of the last 6 weeks. We have been getting a chance to try out a lot of different parts of the system. Marcus and I have switched off as GM. We've been able to explore kind of some of the different city pieces as well as a mega dungeon, all of which will end up in the final digital and print version of the game. But it's been a blast to be able to kind of explore some of those things. Let's meet some of our other players and see who they are and what they're up to. Let's start with Liam. Liam, tell people who you are, what you do, and where they can find you online.
For sure. My name is Liam Cottrell from Sydney, Australia. I am the DM and founder of the Hobgoblin company and podcast. We run through the Savage Tide Adventure Path, which I painstakingly rewrote from 3.5 to Pathfinder and the world of Galarian because I am insane and have too much free time, apparently, which I really don't have. We can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of the normal socials, hobbled_goblin or at the Hobgoblin. But yeah, that's awesome. Pretty much me.
Let's hear from Richard. Richard, tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online.
Hey, I'm Richard Ruane. I am of Our Root Games, and you can find me on Twitter at ARR_ROO on Twitter. So on Twitter in one sentence.
On Twitter. Excellent. And before we dive fully into the game, I do want to bring people's attention through the course of the rest of this week. We are going to be giving over our channel to a number of streams supporting the Dissident Whispers project. If you're not familiar with Dissident Whispers, it is a book that came out last year. It's a collection of 58 different adventures for different systems. A lot of them were system agnostic. Some for Troika, lots for Morkborg and Mothership that made it in. But we're going to be playing a bunch of those adventures with different people who worked on the Dissident Whispers project. It came about in the middle of a bunch of the eruption of a bunch of racial unrest that has been lingering in our country for hundreds of years last summer in the middle of the shutdown. And all the money went to go to raise money. All the sales went to go to raising money for the National Bail Fund. We're going to continue that by doing some charity streams over the next couple days. So tonight we're playing Pit of the Pupil. We've got a panel tomorrow with a bunch of great contributors from that, including Diogo Nogueira and Johan Noir and some other great folks. And then we're going to be playing some other games on Saturday. And we'd encourage people to check out the book or read any RPG that you've had on your shelf to read on Friday and then share about it online. There's just a couple different things we've got going on over the next few days. But please come back and help support that. You can also just donate directly at ttrpg.link/donate if you want to help support the fundraising efforts we're doing for that. None of that has to do with dungeon crawling, but it is all a good cause. So we're going to hop into that. I'll get people kind of briefly caught up. I know I've had y'all do it for the last few weeks, but y'all have been exploring a large dungeon near Infinitopolis. The landscape around Infinitopolis, which is this giant ever-changing city, that really runs on the blood, the treasures, the human cost of all the things that are pulled out of the ground from the myriad of ruins that surround it. Every time you enter and exit the city, things seem a little bit different. New parts of the city open up, old parts of the city get sealed off. But y'all have been exploring a larger than average dungeon that Richard's character Borba initially forged some paperwork for, but that paperwork has become more and more real and significant as it turns out the religion that he created around it was a real religion, which is where he got introduced to Thrag, who is Marcus's character, and then Esterax, the wizard slash dark cultist, joined you along the way. You've had numerous friends come and go. All of their names at different points have been written down on the permit, giving them the ability to come and go into the dungeon with you or on their own as they please. But we are now on the 3rd level of the dungeon, having found a bunch of weird kind of metal automatons and some goblins on the 1st level, some weird kind of tumorous misshapen goblins, and a bunch of poison on the 2nd level. And then this level has been the weirdest of them all, with a garden that's in there, these caterpillar-like bugs in these hives that glow, that have this sweet smelling nectar that you have that somebody grabbed a pocket of, but I think that person ran through a portal. There's also a flickering portal nearby in one of these rooms, and these giant creatures that have been walking around, coming in and out of the portal, as far as you can tell down here, as they communicated telepathically in your minds last week, which was not a pleasant experience. They gave you one final warning, which was let the sleeper rest. And that kind of brings us to where we are now, except for that Esterax was separated from your group for last session. So Esterax, tell us a little bit about, as you went back up, what you got up to in Infinitopolis.
Yeah, so instead of coming back down with everyone, he kind of ghosted on them, didn't show up at the meeting point, and went and caught up with his circle of cultists, try and figure out what Simolin's ring, what powers it could have unlocked or have it locked inside it, basically.
Awesome. Go ahead and make a D6 roll for me. I imagine your group of cultists, like any other number of groups in the city. What is the name of the group? Do you have a name for the cultist group?
We're just the cultists of the Fallen God.
Cultists of the Fallen God. When you're going to find them, they also kind of move around to keep from getting caught by religions who might not appreciate their leanings. Tell me, roll a d6 for me. Let's see how long it takes you to find them, and if you get into any hijinks along the way.
4.
A 4. You're able to pretty quickly find them. They were just kind of clearing out one safe house and headed over to another one. What are y'all doing to kind of figure out what exactly this ring does? Is there a somebody in the group you're talking to? Is there something you're doing to explore that? Tell me a little bit about how you want to pursue this. We'll make a couple of rolls and then move forward.
So as a group, we're trying a little bit of a blood divination with some sacrifices.
Of course.
Awesome.
Unnamed origin. Perhaps some people have gone missing recently around the city, but yeah, so that we're attempting some blood divination with our fallen god to see if we can unlock the powers.
Awesome. I will say this. You are a wizard. If you want to take a hit of damage, I will give you advantage on this roll, which that does mean that you will do it, but we'll see.
I'll be at half.
How much? Yeah,
health,
you'll be
basically.
at half health. But
yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, go ahead and roll 2d20. Add whatever level of mystical you have, and we'll see what you're able to divine.
Okay. So with advantage, thankfully, that'll bring me up to a 21.
Awesome. So you, as you're sacrificing your or other people's blood into this process to beseech your fallen god, it actually like seems almost at first like this ring is hungry. It seems like no matter how much blood y'all pour into the offering, it's not sated, which eventually leads you to understand that this ring itself has a connection to another plane, and that the blood is being basically cut in half because the magic that's cast through this ring passes out of our plane of existence into another plane of existence and then back in at the delivery point, which essentially means when using this spell that you can functionally ignore line of sight as a limitation. So not being able to see things, as long as you know where they are, you'll still be able to cast magic on them. Line of sight isn't a huge limitation except for narratively in this system, but that's what we're going to say for right now. As well as it may do other weird portally things, but that's something you certainly can know right now. And then you missed the meetup, but your name's on the permit. So do you just kind of turn invisible and slink back down following these folks until you catch up with them?
Yep. Let's pop into existence next to them.
Yeah, so let's say that you've seen this. You make your way back down. You end up down on the 3rd level because when you open up the elevators to the small rooms with the buttons in it to the 2nd level, you only see either rubble for some of them or a ton of tumor goblins at another one, which typically means you want to just go ahead and hit that 3rd floor button instead. You come out in the hallway and you hear this some commotion towards the end of the hallway. You hear a little bit of people and scream. You hear this kind of excited yelling, and you see this muscular looks like a wrestling like an 80s wrestling star. It's Melvin the Muscle Wizard. Go running down the hallway after these 4 large creatures. And kind of disappear into this room at the very end. You don't get the same message that everybody else does, but you do, in full invisibility, see in front of you your 2 other party members who are, I think, and that kind of catches us up time-wise to where everybody was at and drops you right back in. So y'all are on the bottom floor of this dungeon. You have had these kind of 4 large kind of alien creatures walk past. Did y'all follow them into the portal room, Borba and Thrag?
Yeah, I think we did. We saw them walk in.
That's right. Yeah. We saw our last week's friend disappear into the portal with them.
Yep. Which our Alex Murray is watching right now and says Melvin ! And so so y'all had seen that happen. But yeah, what are y'all up in the major room? You'd seen these kind of major thrones that they were sitting on that kind of reminded you of the ones in the anteroom, except for these creatures did actually move. And there's a large kind of jewel encrusted sarcophagus at the far end of the room.
The warning was don't let the sleeper rest.
It was let the sleeper rest.
Yeah, let the sleeper rest.
Yes.
Well, there's the whole warning about letting the sleeper rest. Plus, the nice thing about a jeweled sarcophagus is that the jewels in the sarcophagus are not one and the same. You can just get the jewels right off there.
They just come right off.
They just pop off into your hand. You leave the sarcophagus intact. We couldn't carry a sarcophagus out anyway.
No. But I'm so curious to see what's inside. But let's see how easy the jewels come off.
Sure. So you're gonna go over and kind of look at the sarcophagus and inspect the jewels.
Yeah. Like how are they inlaid?
They're on the top. They're in a pretty tight pattern towards the middle. There is the same kind of glowing script you've seen around the room does go and run up onto the sarcophagus, except for on the sarcophagus, the metal surrounding it looks to be a far more precious type of metal. You're not sure if it's gold or if it's ochroleum. It kind of shimmers like a rainbow through a set run of colors. And in the middle, there are 12 jewels that are in the middle top center of the sarcophagus.
Is the sarcophagus about the same size as the creatures sitting on the thrones?
It certainly
would they fit in here?
It certainly could hold one of the creatures that was sitting on the throne, which are about twice the height of a human inside of it.
That just seems like remarkably few few gems for a sarcophagus this big.
I bet
Like
there
when
are more
I-
on the
like-
inside.
But let the sleeper rest.
That's maybe. Yeah,
Look,
that's what they
look,
said. But I mean,
when breaking and entering, the goal is to have no one wake up.
Each of you go ahead and roll a d6 for me and tell me what you get.
5.
2.
and a 5.
Y'all hear a shriek, like a loud, high-pitched shriek coming from the direction of the portal room that Melvin ran off towards.
What did you all do when I wasn't here?
We did a lot of things. You weren't here. If you want to know what we did, you should come.
I was busy. What the hell was that thing?
I don't know, but it sounded bad. Let's go check it out. I pull out my mace and start walking fast towards the portal room.
I turn back and be like, Thrunk, come on, leave the jewels. We'll get them later.
I will. Putting a badger on my shoulder right now.
Finlow isn't fazed by any of this. Finlow knows you have this. So you, as you head that way, you notice that the flickering of that portal has, it's still like sometimes it'll stop and solidify, and then it'll kind of like flicker. It seems to be flickering consistently now, but there are 3 tall, lean, eyeless humanoids. They look a lot like the creatures that went in a minute ago, except for those ones had eyes, and those ones did look at you. These ones do not have eyes. They're even as tall as the other ones were. These ones are stretched. They have 2 additional limbs, and they are walking on all 6 of them towards you. And there are these 3 blind creatures crawling towards you from the portal room.
Do they seem to have some idea, despite the lack of eyes, where they're going? Or are they just sort of crawling at random, feeling their way? Do they seem to have some sense of the space?
As you take that in, there's another loud shriek that occurs, and all of a sudden they kind of move their heads towards you and start crawling directly at you.
This is what you don't want to have happen when you're breaking in and entering.
Go ahead and roll a d6 for me. One of you will go into initiative.
3.
So 3. So they are coming down for you. Good news is this hallway is not wide enough to let more than one of them through at a time. So since y'all are still in the hallway, you have one that's coming at you. Who is in the front?
That would have been me, I think.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and make a roll plus. You can make a roll plus holy or mystical to resist what is about to happen.
All right, 21.
So
18 plus 3. Yep.
It comes up very close to you, and all of a sudden it switches into a higher pitched shrieking noise that then almost goes into a supersonic mode, and you get a little bit dizzy, but you're able to kind of shake it off, and it's not able to. It doesn't impact you, but it has now closed the distance to you, and the other 2 are kind of caught behind it.
Mm-hmm. All right. And what do they do? The other ones? They
seem to be kind of like pawing and champing. They're not quite able to make their way around this other one.
Uh-huh. Well, this attacking an acolyte of the Reclaimer, I'll just smite it, and hopefully the other 2 will run away back into the portal or something. Well, that depends. It inflicts 3 hits against an unholy target. It certainly looks unholy.
Yeah,
it sounds unholy.
I think this would count as unholy. That's actually one of my notes for Dev is how we want smite exactly to work and how we want to define unholy. I think in this situation, unholy definitely works, and so you actually see like it it shrieks again. This one's far lower and more guttural, and kind of clear oozing liquid comes out of its ears and its pores. Tell me again what Thrag's smite looks like.
I can't remember if you established anything, but my idea is that this staff he has, this crook, he just reaches out with it, both hands, and a flash of purple light just blinds everyone for an instant.
Sure, yeah, and then after that light's burned it, you see this kind of broken body with this oozing kind of clear, like semi-luminous liquid kind of pouring out of this creature's mouth, and what looks like very, very small ears up on the side of its head also too. What is everybody else up to?
Is it still up?
No, it's collapsed to the ground.
Okay. Frag is probably standing there, turned around, looked where we are, and he just sees Estrax's hand pointed straight at his face, and this black spear of ice just appears out of it, blinks out of existence in front of Frag's face, and he just hears, as he turns around behind him, this spear just slam into the next creature. I cast Pain Bolt on it for 4 hits on the next creature.
This creature, yeah, so tell me what it looks like as this ice bolt penetrates into this creature and kills it.
Yeah, so it's just like this spear of ice that winks out of existence on one side of Thrag, appears back on the other side, and just spears the creature through the head.
Awesome. So Borba, you see this happen. Also, the creature drops to the ground. So there's one left.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll just try to stab it. It just got backstabbed, but it seems like getting rid of this one thing is way better than
I will say this: you'd have to throw a weapon at this point because you've got Thrag in front of you at least, and then like a couple of dead bodies on the ground.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to instead of trying to dodge around and dodge into some shadows somewhere, I'm going to just start talking to it while throwing knives at it.
Okay.
That is just a 10 though.
And you don't have any pluses to hit?
Nope.
You kind of hit it, but it glances up kind of a chitinous piece on its shoulder. And what are you saying to it as you do this?
Really, this is completely uncalled for. Entirely uncalled for.
Yeah.
This is not the way to go. Neither of us, we're just wandering around. You're just wandering around.
I forgot that everybody could see my my notes if I moved off the map screen. It's okay. I don't think anybody got any secret details. So you have this dialogue as your knife kind of bounces off of it. It then all of a sudden spreads these spindly limbs out on the wall and starts pushing out on the walls and walking over the dead bodies in front of it as it lets out another loud shriek. So was it Thrag, then Esterax, then Borba, correct? Is our marching order. So Esterax and Thrag, go ahead and make a D20 roll plus any mystical or holy that you have.
14.
16.
All right. You, Thrag, are going to take a hit of damage from this shriek that it has let out. You become kind of dizzy. You lose focus. Your ears start ringing. You almost feel like you're about to fall over, but you're able to stay on your feet. You get the same kind of sensation, but nowhere near the same intensity. You don't take any damage, Esterax, but you get this kind of very momentary daze that you can tell hit Thrag far harder. It's y'all's turn again.
That's just completely uncalled for.
Are you trying to talk to it in this calm voice while throwing daggers?
Really, this sort of acting out is exactly why we can't really just have a rational conversation. I'm going to throw another dagger at it. For another 10.
Hey, I want to point and let everybody know, if you've only watched some of the earlier episodes and some of the last week, Richard did roll some numbers over 10 and did prove that he is rolling d20s.
For the first 3 weeks, I only rolled numbers under 6. So,
so we so again, same thing. You managed to hit it, but the knife doesn't seem to have enough power to penetrate through with the throws that you've been having.
that's okay.
Well, I try to like regain my my focus, shake my head a bit to clear my head up, and I'm just gonna try and hit it with my mace. And that's a 4.
A 4 does not hit.
No, it makes sense since my head is ringing and everything. Yeah.
You're still kind of shuffling off this daze. You actually kind of see, it looks like numerous versions of this creature, and you swing where you think it is, but you end up not connecting with anything as you just kind of whiff through the air.
And I kind of move off to the wall, leaning against the wall to regain my balance too.
Okay.
Not so much to move out of your way, but to regain my balance.
And as he does that, Estrax kind of behind me goes, looks like your god has failed you. And then just like, again, points out, and that spear of darkness just, again, blinks in and out of existence, and it just impales the creature.
Awesome. This creature drops to the ground, and you can still see that there's this kind of flickering light coming down the hallway from the portal room that y'all went into earlier with Melvin, that he had disappeared through.
Did we try last time, like sticking stuff in, poking with our swords or something?
No,
I don't
Melvin
remember.
ran. You saw
We stuck Melvin in.
Yeah, Melvin ran through it, and you could see him on the other side. You also did see the 4 creatures walk through it, and they made it to the other side. You can see kind of this desolate landscape on the other side, but it seems like there's a rock face not too far in front of you, and so you can't make out a ton of the details. Plus, there's kind of this static quality to it. You get the smell of ozone kind of coming through, and there is a severed half of a body on the ground that Melvin took a belt off of on his way out.
Oh, that's right.
Promising.
Was there a door leading into this room? Did we pass a door, or was it just a hallway and like an opening?
There is a hall. The door is open because it was left open, but there is a door to this room at the end of the hallway.
Oh. I'm saying we close this door, maybe even like bolt it shut or something, and then go check out check out the sarcophagus.
You mean not wake up the sleeper?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Thrawn,
Yeah.
we cannot be more specific on this. Not wake up the sleeper.
But there might be stuff to reclaim in the sarcophagus.
Yes.
What kind of an acolyte of the reclaimer would I be if I didn't reclaim the
guy
insides
who
of
thinks that 12 very valuable gems in the hand is worth not getting stabbed to death by an undead creature in the sarcophagus?
I'm thinking about it.
Low risk, high reward. It's really the sneaky way.
Sure. While you are thinking about this, everybody roll a d6 for me.
Oh, God.
Everybody?
Yep.
2.
5.
5, 2.
That's twice you guys have gotten the same result.
Let's see. I did 4 again. You hear that loud shrieking noise again. It seems very, very distant this time. But it does, you can kind of see through the portal that there are more of these creatures that seem like they are massing on the other side. As y'all kind of stand there, you notice that Thrag's skin has taken on kind of this blue sheen to it. At first, it looked like it was just because of the light coming through this portal, but it does seem to have changed mildly his skin color to this still mostly flesh-like, but slightly bluish tint.
Is there any buttons or anything on this, like, or any switches or anything around the room?
There are controls, a lot of them all over the place. There are some of the same kind of cables y'all have seen before of other places. There are also a number of jewels stuck into different panels in this room as well.
Do you have anything made entirely of wood? Either of you?
A torch?
Yeah, something that doesn't conduct, lightning energy.
Yeah, I have a torch.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Why don't we just pull down those cables? That seems to shut everything down last time.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I'll hand the torch to Borba, and while he's doing that, Esterax is going to walk around and start flicking switches and hitting buttons and trying to figure out what anything does.
Sure. We'll do a couple things. So, question first:
events cannot go anywhere wrong.
First and foremost, is Borba using the knowledge of electrical, of lightning energy that he got from the academy last session to do this?
Yes, this is 100% me going like, this is how.
Yes.
Lightning,
So
lightning work
then,
engineering.
Yes. Then, based on the knowledge you paid for last session in Infinitopolis at the Grand Academy around this specific subject, you know exactly how to do this. But you can go ahead and cross that off of your knowledge list. That information has run its course. That is going to take just a not too horribly long, but long enough for Esterax to push, let's say, 3 buttons beforehand, and you actually see like it kind of like the light intensifies very brightly. You hit another button, it drops intensely. You hit the third button, and the scene actually shifts to a completely different location, and then the power goes out.
Whoa.
I thought you were going to hit another button and then soft jazz was going to come on.
The
lights go down. The scene
Careless Whisper just starts playing.
All right. Guess I won't be reclaiming any stuff from that world. Which leaves the sarcophagus.
Well, they're taking care of at least.
The sarcophagus with the carefully, gently embedded stones that will not wake up the sleeper lying within.
Let's say, Esterax, go ahead and make a D20 roll for me.
Natural 20.
Wow.
So you realize that last button, like you were just like pressing buttons, like you weren't necessarily paying a ton of attention. You were just like, hey, I'm flicking. You did notice that the last one that you touched that shifted the scene. It is a button, but it was one of those gems that was inlaid into the control panel also too.
Those gems on the top of the sarcophagus, they look like this one, yes?
Yeah, they're
This one just changed whatever picture was in that frame to a different picture. So perhaps the ones on the sarcophagus might do something else.
Not if we remove them, they won't.
Well, see, try this one. See if you can remove this one now that you've taken the power from
it. With a use of appraise, are they actually the same cut and fashioning of gemstone?
They're not the same cut or fashion. You'd have to like put them side by side to know precisely. The honest GM answer, right, is they are similar enough for you to have to consider the concept that they may be buttons also, but the buttons in here are all different colors and cuts also too. Some of them are identical. Most of them are different from each other though.
Can I twist this button out of its setting?
You can either, if you want to use an instance of, I would let you use either lock picking, or if you want to make a roll to see how well you can do that as a practice roll.
I'm just gonna take a use of lock picking.
Okay. So yeah, with lock picking, you're able to see, like, you're able to get a pick up underneath there and very, very easily kind of like pop it out. It is a delicate task, but with approaching it that way, you're able to remove it and disconnect it.
And then you could still like pivot if the energy were on. You could still pivot that like button setting just without the gym in it. Correct?
You don't know.
Okay. Well, we may never learn because I just have this strange sense that gym is never going back in that socket. Just overwhelmed by this sense that it's just not going to happen.
Sure.
Yeah, I want to remove one as well. Try to mimic what Borba is doing.
So go ahead and make a D20 plus sneaky roll for me.
13.
You are able to. You're able to get one out. It takes a little bit more. You've got to put a little bit of force into it, but you're able to pop it up and out.
Awesome.
This is in the portal room, right? You didn't go into the sarcophagus, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
This is the portal room,
Yeah.
I think.
It was more of a question for Thrag. I was making.
No, this is the
I
portal.
knew. I knew Borba had not done that. I was making
I was
sure
just gonna
Thrag
say.
had not done that.
So is there anything else on this level apart from the sarcophagus room and the portal room? Like, is there any other doors that we have that you guys haven't been down? Any other corridors?
I don't remember.
I think there was a. Yeah, like maybe from the garden room. I picked some fruit from weird plants.
Yeah,
I think there was another door out of. I'm not
Yours was
sure.
the same level that had the little weird entrance that led to the stinky lake.
No, that was one level
That
up
was
with all the
level two.
goblins.
Yeah.
The only the only thing that you are unsure about as far as exploration on this level is there could be a hidden room that you just didn't see, right? Like not an obvious. There's no obvious doors. The only space you didn't thoroughly explore was the giant black space with the weird noises in it. That you just kind of hugged the wall and went from one doorway to another close doorway. But other than that, you didn't see any other doorways, but that room was entirely pitch black. And so, but you're able to communicate about the weird garden room with the fruit in it, about the room full of dust piles and the dead body. Thrag, do you have that on, or was that something that Melvin ended up wearing?
The what?
Do you have the breastplate with the pickled heart in the middle of it?
No, I don't.
Is that okay?
I think that's what Melvin did.
No, y'all gave Melvin all of the really good magic items before he ran through the portal.
So helpful.
Yeah. So,
I think, because I think like both of us were just like, it's just not my style.
I think
Oh,
I
was that
think
Nork's
Thrag may
breastplate?
have ended up with it because I feel like Melvin was a big I don't wear anything except for my spandex individual.
Right. That's true.
That may be right. I don't remember. I'm sorry. I didn't write it down. But okay, let's say I'm wearing it.
Okay, you got. I'm just making sure. Yeah. So you are wearing a breastplate with a floating pickled heart in the middle of a glass chamber in the center of the chest. Also too.
It just wasn't me.
No.
So there's not necessarily a spot that you have missed other than the sarcophagus, the portal, if you want to try to turn it back on, or this big empty black room.
Esterax, do you remember which of the buttons that turned it off? Was it the one that Borba removed?
Yeah, the one that's in Borba's hand.
Uh-huh.
Although
It
he
would be
did
cool
something with the chords as well, so I'm not sure which worked.
I'll just, while I'm speaking, I'll start slowly walking towards the sarcophagus room, I think.
Okay.
I'm gonna go check over here.
So
I'm going to work right. You've had your eye on that sarcophagus in completely inappropriate ways.
I'm gonna say, so the other jewels that are in this space are on as you walk back down the hallway, there's the small kind of antechamber to the big sarcophagus room that has those 4 seated statues in it that have jewels in their eyes that kept on looking like they were kept on looking like they were moving but not. As you pass back through this time, they seem far more settled than they did before.
All right, that's good because I was just thinking about doing a cleanse, my ability cleanse. But okay, it seems I don't have to if they settle down. Yeah, I won't touch anything. I promise. I just want to look. I just want to have a closer look.
Okay. Just remember, you can look with your hands behind your back.
So you head up to the sarcophagus.
Yeah. Very
I'm
slowly.
walking right next to you.
Like one slow step at a time.
It does feel like the light in the room shifts as you step up near the sarcophagus. It's not anything you can exactly place your finger on or figure out. But as you step up onto the dais the sarcophagus is sitting on, it does seem like the room illuminates a little bit more, and maybe the lights are shining slightly brighter.
I'll step down. Okay, something happened. I'm starting to think this is a bad idea, maybe.
Well, someone needed to convince that pickled heart of yours to.
Is there anything left? Like, we could go get the rest of the jewels from the portal room.
There's the
there
jewels in
were
the portal
more,
room.
right?
There's the jewels here. There's the jewels in the eyes of the 4 statues out in the hallway, and then there are. Y'all already picked up the statue of the golden statue of the retriever. Last time also.
Okay, should we just start removing jewels?
I mean,
Yeah.
there didn't seem to be any problem with removing them from the control room.
No? All right.
Well, then, Bulba, do you want to remove them from the sarcophagus with your deft hands?
Oh, certainly. No. I mean, let's do the control room first. Let's do the control room first.
Okay.
So with appraise, second use of appraise, what am I trying to say? With that second use of appraise, I am looking at sort of a what would be the overall value of the gems? I mean, not like of the gems in the control room.
The gyms in the control room, they look like they are probably about 200 gold each. Like these are good sized, well faceted gems.
And how many are there in the control room?
There were 8 total. You have 2 of them.
Okay. Well, let's just be bluntly honest. With the work and the quality of the original stone, we're looking at maybe 1,600 for just this room. How does that sort of compare with what I would estimate for the sarcophagus?
They look like they are probably worth about twice as much.
Of course.
All right. Well,
I mean, there are more of them, so it's not like a 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 on the gems, but the total amount would be about twice as much. And then there's whatever that metal is that you can't quite identify that parts of the sarcophagus are made out of. Also,
we are not bringing up the metal. I say out loud for no particular reason, looking right at Thrash.
No, not right now, but I mean, we could return later with. But okay, do you tell the rest of us about the value of the jewels on the sarcophagus?
While y'all are evaluating this, everybody roll a d6 for me.
3.
6.
5.
Okay.
Marcus, I was starting to think that your dice and my dice were seeing each other behind our backs.
Mine are brand new, first time using them. Orange.
I have my like DCC D6.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all are discussing the values of all these things, But getting those 12 will essentially triple the amount of money that you walk out of this dungeon with.
I mean, it's called a sleeper. How dangerous can it be?
What do you mean, how dangerous can it be?
Well, if it's anything like those other creatures, we took them out with No issue at all.
Yes.
There was violence.
There was. But
Yes,
how
but
about...
it only affected Throg. His god didn't protect him enough.
I would like to point out, breaking and entering, the whole point is not to wake the sleeper. We've been asked to not wake the sleeper.
I turned blue. Surely this is a sign from the Reclaimer.
Wait, is Throg still blue in the jewel room, in the sarcophagus room?
He has maintained that blue tint now that you are back in normal light. Also, hey, hello to our friends from Diesel Shot who just rated in on us. Congratulations on your recent campaign. I know it's been a little bit now, but thanks for joining us. We are playing Down We Go, which is a minimalist OSR system that Marcus made that we've got in development right now. If you want to check it out, you can go to ttrpg.link/DWG. But thanks for watching. We're doing the classic debate whether we take the treasure or not maneuver.
We
completely... I don't know why you're so worried. The GM has this obviously isn't a trap treasure on the sarcophagus.
I don't know. There was just a giant written warning when we went in, and just the basic rule of stealing things is don't wake the people in the house.
It's true.
But there might not even be a sleeper. We don't know they told us the truth. I mean, that could have just been them wanting to let all their precious valuables stay safe.
You know what every burglar knows is that it never really pays off to find out if the form sleeping in the bed as you're ransacking the bedroom is actually a living person or not. It could just be a dead body or a stack of pillows. Doesn't matter. You don't go find out.
Okay, Esterax, you're gonna have to decide this one, I think.
And like he'll walk up to the sarcophagus, look at the gems. Are they all like different colors, or are they all different?
I'm giving a rough estimate of like 3,200
per gem.
No, total for the collection, the set.
You just per gem, and Esterax just like cracks all of them.
He looks and he goes. It kind of looks at them all. Looks at one near the middle, and he's like, "And this one," and kind of like pushes on it. Accidentally.
Let's see. I should have really come up with a D12 table here, but I did not. So you hear kind of like a click, 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 click all around the edge.
That's never a good sound.
Oh, I thought they were just gems. What happened here?
I don't know. Try pushing another.
Oh,
push all of them.
You hear like this. There's this kind of hissing noise that erupts from around the dais and the sarcophagus.
And then he goes like old man 2 fingers. Goes, oh god.
Do you hit every single one of them? Are you doing the like elevator?
Yeah, he's button mashing at this point in time. He's like,
level.
Stop.
Like you see some of them kind of flicker on and off, and actually, like anybody standing back a little bit, I think Esterax is probably two in the middle of it. Like you can see the lights around it starting to like hiss. You see some of this like steam shooting out from time to time. It's a very quick process, but things are very chaotic at the front of the room. Good, just make a D20 roll for me. Let's see how horrible this is for you or not.
Probably pretty horrible with a 6.
Yeah, like so most of the lights are glowing and now pulsing. And all of a sudden the top of this sarcophagus starts sliding back away from you.
And Esterax starts backing away very quickly.
And as you back away, Thrag starts moving up. Like, I want to see what's in this sarcophagus.
So as you come up, there is this long, it's thinner than the other ones. It looks almost emaciated creature like the other ones. that you've seen so far. This one has eyes, and it has this metal band around the top of its head, and it has metal bands around its wrists, and there's a small scepter at its side, but it's just laying there.
When you say metal bands, does it look like it's like the bands are holding it down to the bottom of the sarcophagus, or is it wearing it?
Oh, you'd have to get in real close to be able to tell.
Yeah, I'll get in real close to find out.
I'm in the back just going like shaking my head.
It almost looks like it's either that they are perfectly they are either holding it down or it's perfectly slotted to fit this body and these bands in there as if it was custom made for them, but it's impossible to tell. Maybe if you reached out and tugged on one.
I'll just I'll look back at Borba and just, I never had a choice. And just
You literally always had a choice. Life is
I start tugging at them. I have to find out if they're
as
attached.
you reach out and make contact with it. Somebody make an initiative roll. Thrag, make an initiative roll for me specifically.
Is it okay if I use alertness?
Is that to automatically win?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can absolutely be alert at this moment.
Cool.
So which lets you, like, you're reaching for the band on its head, and as you touch it, like, its eyes open up, and you feel the same kind of heaviness in the atmosphere before the other creatures spoke to you. You feel that same kind of pressure building in the room around you, but you have time to act before it does.
Good morning. Sorry to have woken you. I'll just be on my way, let you sleep maybe. I'll slowly back up. Hopefully it doesn't do anything.
And this time, Esterax is the one that runs up and goes, "Nope, you're staying there." And then he just casts wall over the top of the sarcophagus.
Oh man, such a great use of wall.
Awesome.
You cast wall over the top of the sarcophagus as it starts to it starts to move up a little bit. You cast wall. It is stuck down. But you, Borba, is there anything else you want to do?
I'm just gonna get in position. Is there any way to break wall? I mean, like, I've stood on a wall. It's only gonna last for what, like 10 seconds? Like a minute?
And
4 rounds, however long a round is.
you also can, I think we established you can end it early if you would like to.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get near the sarcophagus, maybe on the other side of it, and get in a hidden position.
Okay. Are you using hide?
I'm going to use hide.
Okay. So you are able to get into a perfectly hidden position. You've got a little bit of time here. The only problem with this plan at all is surely this. You hear a voice in your head. Everybody go ahead and make a roll plus whatever your primary stat is.
18.
16.
Your
dice are seeing each other behind their backs.
Yeah, you feel that same kind of pressure build. This is your first time. It feels similar, Esterax, to those screeching of those creatures, except for this is all kind of in your head, and it is not as painful or direct. And it says, "Interlopers, how dare you kneel before your god?"
Can we speak back? In my head, I'll just kind of like concentrate and be like, "You are not the fallen god."
Nor are you the reclaimer.
I'm sorry. I'm a Quaker. I really it's just not a thing, and a lapsed one at that. I'm sorry. That the statement doesn't even make sense.
I thought you were going to say "or the retriever" for a second. That was was a better response.
I really would kneel before the retriever, though, if I actually saw the retriever.
You're such a good boy.
Oh my God, such a baby.
Such a good baby. And so, you can feel that same kind of pressure escalating more and more in the room as it seems like this creature is gathering force. This is going to take a full turn, so you have a chance to act again before anything is going to happen.
I'll start removing jewels, as many as I have time for.
I am mainly trying to stay hidden so that when he comes out, I will be able to backstab it.
And I'll look at Thrag and be like, sorry, at Borber and be like, that's good, but I can hide better than you now, and just disappear. Invisibility.
Invisibility just says you turn invisible, correct?
Yeah.
What does hide say?
It just says I hide in the shadows. 1 second, I can read the thing. Totally hidden in shadows when still.
Okay. You I'm gonna roll a d6 real quick for this action. Sorry. So Borba, you all of a sudden feel like you're perfectly still, you're fully hidden, you know that you are not visible, but you feel yourself thrown back against a wall and you take 1 damage from the impact. Like nothing touches you, but you are slammed within the shadows into the wall. And you start to feel that mental pressure building up again.
I make a look over at Finlow, and just my look says ow, but otherwise I don't move.
I'm gonna
roll a d4 for me, Thrag.
A d4.
Yeah.
All right.
Just how many jewels you're gonna get out as you're trying to pop them out as quickly as possible.
8. No, I'm kidding. 1.
1. You get 1 of them out. These are a little bit more finely crafted. It feels like. Anybody else doing anything this round?
No, I turned invisible already.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hidden.
Okay. Well, sorry. Its action was that was after. So this is a new round. So Borba, Borba and you getting hurt was it. It's starting to charge back up again. You're gonna have another round to act.
Is the wall still there?
Wall's still there.
It doesn't have to be. I can dismiss the wall at any time. Are you ready?
I need it to sit up because it's hard to backstab it when I'm coming at it from above.
Of course. And I'll just be like, flick my hand and the smoke dissipates.
This so you have a chance to act, but are you waiting on it to move? Is that what
I'm waiting on it to get it sit up, start to get out, anything where it will have to turn its back, at least momentarily on where I'm coming from.
It doesn't sit up immediately as you feel kind of in this pressure building, but you do see its hands kind of come up and out, and definitely those bands around its arms are just on it, not on it's not holding it down. It's very clear at this point, Thrag. And you are basically at its feet, Thrag, just so you know, kind of fictionally positioning where you're at. So it starts to reach out and looks like it's about to pull itself up out of the thing as this energy continues to gather around you. And so y'all are gonna get 1 more action before it acts with that energy.
Well, my action is going to be throwing an ice spear at the wall, having it disappear and appear and slam into the creature into the sarcophagus because I don't need line of sight now.
All right. It'll take 4 damage from that. Is that correct?
Yep, 4 damage.
4 hits. Excellent. So it all of a sudden gets speared in the side, and it you hear like what almost sounds like chuckling as it says, it seems that y'all are somewhat worthy adversaries. And then you see it pull the spear out and toss it to the side. Anybody else want to make an action?
Yeah, I'll stop removing gems. And I don't think I have time to reach for my crook. I'll just move close to it and put my palm on its head and say something cool like, prepare to be reclaimed. And I'll use smite again.
Okay. And smite is 3 damage?
If this is an unholy target, I'm hoping it is. Yeah. Otherwise, I just look stupid.
It counts. and you're just in smite is 3 damage, correct?
Yeah.
Cool.
So-
So
Can I kind of come up from where since it's staying in there, can I just sort of come up behind where its head is and use a dagger to sort of pop in and like get to the skull?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
like sort of like I'm getting at the head of the sarcophagus, so all it's gonna see is like from like underneath it, like a dagger come up.
Sure.
Oh, and
So I'm
like
gonna use
as I put my hand on him, I just push his head towards your dagger.
Nice. Yeah, so I'm gonna use a level of backstab.
And what does backstab do?
6 hits.
6 hits.
That's what happens from single classing.
What? what is this? And then all of a sudden, everybody make a D20 plus a sneaky roll for me.
Oh, that's not a good time for a natural one.
That's literally only a 7.
18.
You also
Wait,
rolled
so
a
we had
natural
2
one.
ones. Y'all are both blown back, and you're each going to take a hit of damage. Sorry,
And
what did you roll? What did you roll, Thrag?
18.
Oh, Thrag, you're on your feet. You're fine.
Esterax passes out.
You are actually the first person to die in the game, Liam, as far as I know. Not just our playing right now, but I think have you killed anybody in this game yet?
Me? No.
So, I'm just a horrible GM. So I actually don't know that is it you hit 0, you are dead in this game, correct?
Yeah.
And you have already acted this turn, Thrag, correct?
Yes, I did.
So Liam, your
Right.
body crumples to the ground. This thing still is kind of loosely like it's like it is damaged. It is disoriented, but it is trying to force itself up, and it's grabbing for that scepter. You have done enough damage to it. That was its action, was blowing y'all back for the round. Thrag, Borba.
I am going to. Can I use acrobatics to land on top of the scepter?
Absolutely. Yeah, if you want to do a backflip up onto the sarcophagus and land right where its hand is on the scepter, absolutely.
Yeah. Since I was pushed back, I used that to sort of like force myself. Do you know how hard it is to get an evil wizard to work with you? And you killed him. And Finlow's like standing over Esterax's body, like trying to do CPR. Really ineffectively, especially with the claws.
It's very bad. And the worst part is if Esterax wakes back up, it's going to be with a mouthful of badger. That's the worst part.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Also, clawed. He's going to jolt up, and there's clawed hands doing chest compressions.
That's right. So Thrag, any actions you're going to take?
Yes. I'm gonna try to. I have no idea what this sun medallion does that I picked off the cleric.
Sure.
I have no idea what it does, but I'm just gonna like rip it off and press it towards Esterax's chest, and I'm just gonna hope it does something. I have no idea.
Sure. Are you using an ability with this at all?
I try to use heal as well. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Live, damn you!
Let's come back to that in a second, then, because I love that idea. I'm willing to negotiate this. Roll a d20 plus mystical for me. We'll see. And actually, go ahead and roll with advantage.
D20 plus mystical.
Yeah. And tell me both numbers.
13 and 17.
Okay, perfect. That was with your mystical included, or was that your flat roll?
I have no mystical.
Oh, no, I meant holy. I'm sorry.
Oh, then it's 16 and 20.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we'll come back to that in just 1 second. So Borba, you're up on this thing. It reaches up and it just clocks you. Go ahead and roll a d20 to see if you dodge.
Oh, that is a 26.
You do dodge.
Whoa.
Was that a nat 20?
That is a nat 20.
Go ahead and if you want to make a response with an attack, you can.
Can I just jump while he's trying to clock me and then grab the scepter?
Oh, if you want to just make it away with the scepter, absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent. But it is also back. The action is back to you again. This thing looks like, I mean, it almost connected, it hit where you were, but the fact that it's resorted to physical attacks makes you think that it may be on its last legs.
Since I just bounced away from it with the scepter, can I use the scepter to backstab it again?
Go ahead and roll go ahead and roll your attack, and let's. But I'll give you extra damage on this.
Okay, that is a 21 on the attack.
Yeah. So you take that. You're going to stab it with a scepter.
No, I'm just going to smash it from behind with the scepter.
You're going to smash it from behind. So you impact it with the scepter, and like you break the metal crown around its head as you do so, and you. Whether you hit it on a soft spot, whether it was just the wound from the dagger earlier, you feel the scepter go into the back of this thing's skull as it collapses back into the sarcophagus and stops moving. We see this on the other side. We see this light starting to form around Thrag, focused on this holy symbol that you found on one of the bodies that you looted earlier. And we see the light intensify more and more. And the legend of this cleric was that it had learned to do things with light that no one else had ever had the option to do. And all of a sudden, like, you see that light from around the room completely fill it. There's this bright light that if you weren't already kind of pressing close, you would potentially be blinded. Just kind of fills the entire room. You get this hit from behind by this Borba, like, so you don't have to worry about it. But this bright flash of light, Esther X, you find yourself in a place between life and death, kind of floating there. All of a sudden, this light starts surrounding you, and you are being pulled down. What happens to a cultist of the fallen god when they die? What does the fallen god do with their pitiful soul?
The fallen god uses that to essentially power himself,
Okay.
to try and claw his way back to reality. So every death of a cultist brings him that much closer to being reborn.
So you feel this kind of giant black hand of the fallen god wrap around you as you feel it pulling on you and trying to pull itself one step closer to return. Like you and as you are dying get the sense of this, and all of a sudden there is this stabbing sword of light that kind of impacts the palm from behind, goes through the hand of the fallen god, and hits right into the middle of your soul. Now, here's what I'll give you the option for, since you are the player. And also, it's the last session, so it doesn't really matter. But you can decide one way or the other. But if you want Esterax to come back, he can, but you will have to respec Esterax to half holy, half any other class that you want. And he will return to the living with a different power set. Or you can choose to push back against this sort of light and let the fallen god pull itself one step closer to reality.
I think with his dedication to the fallen god, I think you would
also,
that
let me clarify. I'll let you come back with half holy and half of any of the classes that you wrote also too.
Oh.
Because people watching this may not know, but we have our first third-party creation, or our first full third-party creation. Liam has created a few additional class options for the game, so I will let you do that. We could talk about that in a second, but it's your choice either way.
Okay.
So you have that experience. You see this light. We see the light kind of fade down around the room. We are off. We are off comment. The body has fallen down to the ground. While we are waiting to find out what Esterax decides, the holy symbol itself now is completely charred and melted. Like it is probably some value as far as gold goes, but it is no longer that sunburst pattern. It is just a slag of gold and silver now.
Thrag just looks at it I'm thinking maybe he has some burn marks on his hand or something where he held it.
Yeah, I love
like
it.
in
That-
the shape
yeah,
of
the
a
symbol is
sun.
burnt into your palm.
Yeah, and like big eyes just looking at it. I can't believe what happened. Did I raise someone from the dead? What god is this? I mean, this has to be mightier than the Reclaimer. And as I just throw my crook away, and I put this necklace back over my head.
Interesting. Borba, what are you up to?
I'm like watching Esterax decide whether to come back from the dead or not, but I'm also casually just picking stones, the remaining stones off the top of the
Excellent.
sarcophagus. I'm not even really paying attention. Just
All
like
right.
I'm like picking up a piece of popcorn.
All right. Esterax, what do you do? What do we see?
Okay.
Whether here or in the spirit realm, you tell me.
So as he's kind of being enveloped by this hand of the fallen god, and this light, this spear of like this sort of light, kind of pierces through him. Through the hand, it also manages to pierce through Esterax. And what happens is this fusion of dark and light kind of bleeds into his soul, and like what you see floating in the darkness, wrapped by this dark hand, is a kind of like bits of it subsume into his soul, and it kind of almost splits him in two, between half of him cloaked in shadow and half of him bursting with light. So as he opens his eyes and looks up at Thrag just sees that one eye is completely like white, like blinded white, while the other is completely like there's no pupil. It's just complete darkness and black.
Whoa.
And he kind of sits up, reaches out a hand, and holds the creature in place with one of his cultist abilities called Demon Trap. So you just see these hands kind of reach up from the edge of the sarcophagus and hold the creature where it stands.
Awesome.
Whoa. Yeah.
Sweet.
Epic.
So like I said, y'all are, so these demon hands reach out and grab it. I'm gonna hand things back over to you. Tell me, you know, Borba's collecting the stones. We see Esterax has come back. Thrag has having a epistological crisis between two gods. What do you want to do?
This thing is still alive, right?
Oh no, it's dead.
It's dead. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how clear that was to anybody who was dead or facing the other direction, maybe not. But yeah, Borba definitely did brain this thing pretty dang good.
Don't worry, I got it.
Okay. Good. Esterax, are you okay?
Kind of looking around and just seeing everything again through these new eyes. It's like, I am unsure, really.
It's truly a miracle of the retriever.
No, this is something else. Something else entirely. Is anyone hurt? Apart from me?
Just minimally. Just a little
Yeah,
bit.
one a bit hurt. Yeah.
I'll look and see the like blood on you and be like, I kind of reach out with my left hand, and like you feel this wash of like light actually go over you and feel your wounds close as I use my heal from my holy power to kind of wrap you and heal you as well.
This is so awesome.
Awesome, cool.
Strange.
So y'all are able to heal up. You have the 12 stones from here. You have the 8 stones from the other room. We have half glowing, half shrouded in shadows Esterax. There are there's the metal from there, though there's not an easy way necessary to extract those metal. They're not like strips. They are embedded into the top of the sarcophagus, which is very large. But if you can retrieve them, might be worth a significant amount. And then you also have like I said, the scepter, the 2 bands, and then the broken headband from the creature also. Both of the headband, the scepter, and the armbands have like the same kind of inlaid script of that, and it's that same kind of rainbow sheen metal. And these are actually like the runes on this one are also lit up, except for the headband, which is now darkened. So you're able to collect all that. Do y'all want to do anything else down here?
I mean, with everything that's happened, I'm feeling a bit hungry, so I'm gonna reach down for one of those fruits. Like I can't really remember how the tree looked when I picked it. I'm just, man, I could really use something to eat, and I'll just take a bite of this fruit.
Go ahead and roll a d6 for me.
That's a 2. I can't remember if that's good or bad.
You take a hit of damage. It does not. You do not feel good having eaten this fruit.
I'll throw the rest of them away.
I literally brought sesame sticks.
Why didn't you say something before I
mentioned it like 4 times before we came down here. Don't feel like you need to eat any dungeon food. I brought sesame sticks.
I mean, you did get them in numerous stages of growth, right?
Yeah.
Thrag. So that was one of the ones that was like not quite ripe yet. So I don't know if you can get rid of all of them if you want, but that one wasn't quite ripe.
No, of course I'll try one that's ripe when you put it that way.
Go ahead and roll another d6 for me.
Love me some tables. That's a 6.
You gain a level. You all of a sudden have new knowledge unlocked in your mind.
Nice.
Something just sparks within. Of course, I'll pick a level in mystical.
Everybody's spreading out now. So yeah, y'all are able to gather this all up, snack on some fruit, snack on some sesame sticks, feed your animals. But yeah, let's kind of go into some long form pieces because we're kind of at the end here. What are some things we might see from Esterax or Thrag or Borba over the course of the next few days or weeks?
I think Thrag is... I'm obsessed with this symbol. I want to find out everything about Jonu the Cleric and his Order of Light. Just go through old archives, find old archivists, and try to restore this Order of Light.
Okay.
Surprisingly, helping him with such an endeavor is Esterax, who, unbeknownst to Thrag, actually believes that this god's power might have the ability to raise the fallen god from death and give him new life if he can subsume it like it did within himself.
Love it. How about Borba?
I am advertising on the permit resale market.
Yeah, Peg's list.
Yeah. I just like full permit, like, I have like a hand sketch map of places we've been. May find goblins who don't have permits. And then just have the ad talks about how much the value of what we've already taken. And then what could be left.
Very cool. So you're selling dungeon maps to the stars through Peg's list.
There's only one.
There's only one.
There's only one.
Only one. No one else is going to have.
There's only one permit, so there's only one map.
There you go. All right. Excellent. So we see all these things happen. There are times where y'all are able to interact, go back, have more adventures in the future. But that has been our 5 weeks of Down We Go. First, I want to thank everybody who, whether you're on right now or not, who came in and helped with the one shot. So that's MV, Alex, our Alex Murray, who's a different Alex than the Alex I just mentioned a second ago. We had Gabe. We had
Sarah.
Sarah, thank you. Sarah from Planar Compass. I was like, I know I'm missing somebody. And then Liam, who's been with us most of the time. And then Richard and Marcus, thanks so much for playing. I had a blast. I would love to talk to you all a little bit about the experience playing, questions you have, things Marcus and I can do to make the game better. I have a little bit of a dev talk if everybody's okay with that. We've got about an hour and a half of play. We're going to talk a little bit more about what some of our plans are. For anybody out there watching right now, this is a game that is in development right now. You can go support it over on itch. I dropped the link in just 1 second. It's also in the descriptions. If you're watching this later, ttrpg.link/DWG, or the link right below Richard's face. Richard, if you'll kindly point down below your face for me. Both will take you to the game. You can support it at $1 and get the core rules. You can support it at $5 and get the Ashcan version, which is what we're playing through right now. $12 will get you the Ashcan version now, as well as the final digital version. And then we're going to have a crowdfunding project later on this summer or early in the fall to do it. A couple cool things that we've been able to do so far. We've been able to add art by Evelyn Monroe, full art for the rest of it by Simone Tameta, I think is the way that you would pronounce Simone's name.
Yeah.
And then who has done the most of it, but we just got back the piece of art for the dungeon section by Johan Noir from Morkborg. Am I pronouncing that right, Marcus? Pronounce Johan's name for me.
Johan Noor.
Noor.
Johan Noor.
Johan Noor.
Close enough.
Because I've got to do it tomorrow because he's going to come on for an interview with a bunch of other people. From Morkborg did the dungeon cover section. Ava Islam is going to add in a hex crawl adventure. We've got some other pieces we're going to be adding in, but it's been a phenomenal thing to be able to develop. Like I said, you can go check out all that stuff at ttrpg.link/.
Yeah, Skull Fungus has a dungeon map in there
that's
as well.
Right. Skull Fungus, we've got a map. We still have to write that dungeon.
Yeah.
But Liam, you just tell us a little bit about. At the end, you were able to respec your character. I included the ones that you had added. What did we see Esterax take? We took 3 levels of Holy, but 3 or 4 levels, 2 or 3 levels of what?
No, so I was only level 4.
Oh, you're only level 4. So a couple levels
2 levels
of Holy.
Yeah. And 2 levels of a class that I put in. So yeah, as you mentioned, I was very inspired by the weeks that I've been playing this game. This is my first OSR kind of style game. And because of that, I was inspired after it to kind of put my own twist on a couple of different roles. As you may or may not be able to tell from Esterax, I like the darker paths that one can take through adventuring. So yeah, I took 2 levels in a role that I made called Cultist, which I thought fit him well. And it kind of leans into that eldritch kind of patronage ability, which you actually, I don't know whether you purposely did or didn't do, picked up on the blood divination at the beginning, made me take a hit in order to kind of receive an answer from my patron.
I remembered reading it, and it was good. Like, I liked it, and so that was one of the reasons I tossed it out there. Yeah, it was a good way to include it. So yeah. What 2 levels? So what two things under Cultist did you take?
So he took the Demon Trap ability, which holds something in place, and the other one that he didn't use, which was Eldritch Flame. Basically, it's kind of like the Mystic's ability to hit a bunch of people for 1 hit, basically.
Awesome.
Except from the Cultist perspective.
And then, so you created a Cultist, you created an Alchemist, and there are 2 other classes in there. One of them was Drunkard, which I thought was great. Which has the highest HP, also has the ability to like not feel pain as one of its abilities, which I love. What was the 4th class that you created?
The Necromancer.
The Necromancer.
I figured if we've got a holy person who can turn the undead, we need someone who can make them, or at least like control them.
There we go. Yeah, it was cool to see. And again, like Marcus and I think I've mentioned on stream before, Down We Go is already CCBY 4.0. And so we would love to see people making stuff, whether that's adventures, whether that's classes, whether that's other pieces. Right now, I'm working on a sci-fi hack of it called Away We Go. Marcus is working on a post-apocalyptic one called, is it Back We Go?
Yeah.
And so, anyways, the ability for people to mod and flex the system is something we're excited to see happen. Because I think one of the things I love about the system is if you at a table, somebody was like, I want to create an ability, the way the abilities are structured already would let you know, here are some of the things you would want to potentially put into that, mix and match for flavor. It's lots of times levels time per day or level amount of damage or other things like that. And so I just really, really cool basic functionality that lets you flex things out a lot. But yeah, Liam, tell us a little bit about any feedback you have, anything that you think we could do to clarify the system, make it a little bit better, that you would love to see added, questions you had as you were getting into it and starting to play.
No, like that's, I think, one of the things that inspired me to kind of make that the little role expansion was the fact that it was very simple to get into, like to kind of understand the fundamentals of. It was a nice breakaway from the rules heavy games that I'd normally play. I think the hardest thing for me personally was to realize that the scope of what I could do was just so much larger. Yeah. Like everyone's like, oh, role playing, you can kind of do whatever you want. It's like, yeah, yes and no. You kind of still, a lot of the time, especially with like things that like big rules heavy kind of ones I play, Pathfinder, D&D, all those ones, there's still a very limited role of what you can do. Whereas this is much more theater of the mind, kind of role within the DM job is to roll with anything that's said, with very simple kind of dice mechanics, which I really enjoyed.
Awesome. Cool. Love it. Richard, how about you? I mean, Borba was with us for all of the weeks, helping craft the world of Infonopolis for the first time ever. Tell us about what your experience was like. Any feedback you have is so totally appreciated also.
I just love Infonopolis. I like the fact that it changes every time you're there. And I think it was just such a great place for the sneaky class to like go between adventures and find some stuff to do. There was so many that was incredible. I love the way classes work, or the character classes work in this. I love that it has a very straightforward progression system that just never feels like it's absurdly powerful. Like it never feels absurd for somebody who's a starting character to hang out with a 6th level character.
Right.
Like it just, the 6th level character can do more, but they're not so outside the scope of the what the 1st level character, the starting character can do. That it's outrageous.
Yeah. Part of having people do the one-shot thing was to test that specific thing. Like, let's have somebody pop in a couple weeks in who's only level 3, where everybody else is level 5 or 6. What does that do? How does that impact things? And every single time, people were able to jump right in and just get into play, even though they were not quite as powerful as the characters have been here the whole time. And that was cool to see. For me as a GM, one of the things I think that came up in that was like, there are a lot. The nice thing is, because at the level y'all were at now, you're getting, when you're rolling your stat, you're getting decent, like crazy bonuses, like +6, +8. You know, if somebody's leaning into their rolls a whole lot, then they're going to be getting a lot of bonuses, or they're going to be getting minor bonuses to a lot of things if they've spread their points out. But there's still plenty of things that you can just basically be like, yeah, none of these rolls do any of this thing, you know, a certain way. So make a D20 roll, and like, it may just be flat, it may be whatever, but it's just not a thing that a roll would cover. And so there's still plenty of things that you're making flat rolls at, even as you get up into higher levels. And I thought that was really cool, because it doesn't, again, like you were saying, doesn't make the characters feel massively overpowered, even though they can be like, I hide, I backstab, I whatever. I was at the end trying to think, okay, well, this guy is mentally sensing where everybody in the room is. So y'all hiding in the shadows or being invisible actually doesn't do anything. You know, now from a backstab ability, like, yes, absolutely, I'll give you that, you know, that benefit, because it still matters, right? But this thing is just mentally aware of where you all are, so it doesn't matter whether you're invisible or not. And so it was kind of thinking through some of those things, but the system still felt really natural and really good even in those moments. And I loved that as a GM. And so yeah, any other thoughts?
I think one of the things I really like is that you cap every class at 6. So there's no sense in which you're ever getting more than 6 points added to any one roll.
Yeah.
Like it's never going to be so absurd for Borba to defend because he has like a +12 or +15. Like the highest you can get is 6.
Yeah.
And at which point you've got to do something else.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked a little bit about adding in like a 7th blank line, I think, a couple of weeks ago on each class. Whether or not, and I think the concept was like after you unlock all of them, it's not so much that you get another bonus, but like, hey, create an ability that you're sneaky or mystical or holy or bloodthirsty does well. I don't know that we'll do that, but I think it also goes back to what we were talking about. If somebody's like, I really want an ability to do this, it's easy to turn to the GM and say, hey, instead of taking one of these, can I just do blah instead as a bloodthirsty character? And so I think the main area that we're gonna have to beef up on are like the GM section is totally good if you're a comfortable GM who is like, I'm good rolling, improving, making stuff up. I've done a lot of OSR stuff. Some of the cool stuff I loved running was lore as loot, and nobody really used any of the magic items that they found at any point in time until the very end, and then not in the way that it's written. So like Marcus wrote the original magic necklace protects you in darkness. So if you were in complete darkness, it would have protected you, and it let you do something else with light specifically, but I don't remember what precisely. The way I'd written the pickled necklace, the portal ring, obviously we let erupt, like line of sight didn't matter. It just would, zoom into another universe and then zoom back, which I loved with the adventure also. And then the pickled heart, if you died and you're wearing that armor, you can choose to come back as a reduced version of yourself. So you would lose levels and hit points. And so it basically would let you die and would pickle you more and more every single time you came back. So your skin would be a little bit tighter. You would smell a little bit funny. You'd be a little bit soggy. And so you'd get weaker and weaker, but you would basically be able to die numerous times. And so there was, but that just came from people asking the questions at the very beginning, like, what's the rumor you've heard about this? What's the rumor you've heard about this? What's the rumor you've heard about this? And then Marcus or I wrote down notes on what those different magic items did based on those rumors, which I love. Like, I love, and I want to figure out how we do that and a couple other things on a GM side really consistently. Same thing with Infinopolis, same thing with some other people's. But rather than just saying, hey, ask questions and then provide good answers, which is a good basic way to state that, providing a little bit of guidance to the GM for Infinopolis and for loot on how to do some of those pieces.
Yeah.
So, cool. Awesome. If anybody's watching has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Otherwise, Liam, tell people where they can find you online.
So you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. At the Hobbled Goblin or Hobbled _Goblin on Twitter and Instagram. Or you can find the podcast, the Hobbled Goblin podcast, on all good podcast platforms.
Only the good ones. Good or the bad. If it's not there, it's a bad podcast platform. Get off of it.
Or just email me at thehobbledgoblin@gmail.com and let me know which ones it's not on so I can try and put them in.
There we go. Richard, tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online.
Hey, I'm Richard Rain. I'm a game designer for Artwork Studio, and you can find me at ARR_ROO.
Awesome. Anything you want people to check out specifically right now? Tell people about Enoch's Wake.
Yeah, Enoch's Wake has just come out. It is on sale this week. It is a profoundly derivative game because, other people this week are telling people that their games are super unique. It is a profoundly derivative game. It is using Traveler rules to get to Spelljammer Space Fantasy. And I am absolutely in love with where it's going. And it is available on itch or drive-through. Enoch's Wake.
Yeah. I'm gonna submit Down We Go to the new jam that you've created also too, because it's definitely the first ever.
The unfirst jam is live. So if you've got something that is profoundly derivative that you would like to build just because you liked something else and want to build something inspired by it, the unfirst jam is live until August 22nd because I extended it. So.
But you should also pretend like it's the first thing of that type also too whenever you see
it. It is the very first jam about being derivative.
Yeah. And so Marcus, tell people who you are, what you do, and then where's the best place to find you.
First off, thank you, Tony, for having me on the stream, for helping me with this game. Thank you very much. I'm so excited for this this thing I did to actually come out in printed form. This just feels awesome. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Liam. And thank you, everyone else who's played with us. This has been really helpful. I'm making notes constantly whenever you give feedback. So thank you very much for that. As I said, Marcus, Linderum, and if you want to check out some other... Hey, actually, let's plug this in here. I just got a proof copy back of Cold Wind Whispering, a science-ish fantasy path crawl I did. While you are waiting for Down We Go, of course. And you can find me at Apes of Wrath on Drive-Thru RPG. Or if you just want to hook up on Facebook and let me know what a great game I wrote or whatever, please do.
Yeah. If you leave comments in the chat on the itch page also too, I'll make sure those get to Marcus as well. I know a couple of people have reviewed the game also. That's really helpful. I would love, before we launched on whatever crowdfunding platform we end up using, if we could get like 20 to 30 reviews on itch, that would be absolutely phenomenal. Just whether that's a star rating or specific comments, asking questions, saying what you liked or didn't like and think we could do better about the game. All those things are actually incredibly helpful for us as we help develop it, and would really appreciate that. So go to ttrpg.link/downwego. You can find everything we do here on the channel, or you can find us anywhere on social media at +1EXP. You can find us here or other places. There's links all down below. If you want to support the channel and help us create content for other small creators without them having to pay anything, become a content champion. Support us on kofi.com/+1exp. There are links to that if you're on Twitch with us right now down below. We'll have some levels and some pledge stuff coming soon. Kofi has been delayed in their tier system, which is what we've been waiting on, and it's finally coming out of beta. Then again, also the upcoming APs we have starting tonight at 8 p.m., but over the next few days are all to support Dissident Whispers. We'll be doing charity streams each night to be able to raise money for bail funds here in the U.S. And actually, the charity we're supporting this time, the Bail Project, is helping to look specifically at how we move to a system for supporting people who are accused of crimes in this country, where we believe people are innocent until proven guilty, to decarcerate trying to think about how I'm saying it horribly. To make sure that rich people can't just get out of crimes that they did, but poor people are stuck being accused of crimes that they potentially didn't do, because some people have money and some people don't. So it's about fighting for decarceration of people until there is an actual accusation of a specific crime that they did, as long as they are not a harm to themselves or to others. And so the Bail Project is specifically evaluating how that can be done in the U.S., and that's what we're going to be raising money for all week long. You can find more about that at ttrpg.link/donate. With that said, we still don't have a great way to close the stream, so what we do, we just wave at the camera until we go off live. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.